So my remix of Blakai's Work It Out, this is featuring Lady Alma, so the legendary vocalist from the track Hold It Down by Bugs in the Attic and many other tracks. Amazing vocalist. And this remix is something that this is one of my favorite mixes that I've done, you know. So what I want to do here is go on a little deconstruction journey, and I'm going to break it down for you so you can see the elements that I used to create the actual track. And don't forget, it's available now. If you want to buy it, it's available from all the digital stores through 1050 Records. Big shout to Mark Force, Kaidi and Matt Lord as well, you know, so the guys behind the label. And I'm really pleased to see it out. So I'm going to run it, and I'm just going to stop every now and again and talk through some of the things. So let me just show you here the beats to start off with. So we've got a kick. And what I'm going to say is, actually, this is quite interesting in that I didn't put everything on the same track in the same drum rack. I just separated stuff out. I can't even remember the reason why, to be honest. I might have actually started off with the beat in a single clip and then just dragged the individual drum kind of pads onto a separate track, and that's resulted in what we see here. So you can see a couple of kicks first. Let's zoom in. Another thing you could hear is that crash cymbal, just to kick start things off. That's coming from the M1, and there's a little kit there. Couple of crashes hitting at the same time to create the actual sound. This kit is pretty nice. I'm just going to show you. So it's called the cymbal catalog. So it's a whole selection of different crash and splash cymbals. Really useful. So that's being triggered on top. So let's take a look at the programming here, because something interesting is happening with that kick drum. Right, did you see that? So look, we are running here with a 16th early. All right, so this is different to your regular kick grid positions. And you can see also that it's either swung or it's on the triplet grid. So it's on the triplet grid here. So once again, so it gives you a little sense of urgency there. I'm going to put the click on. You feel that? So this is one of the unique things about the programming on this beat. So it's got this kind of broken beat kind of flavor, even though it's housey. So the other kick, it's almost like a kind of tom and clap together. Let's wait for that again. So we're layering up another sound. Another kick, that's here. And in terms of the processing, you can see what's going on here, really EQing out that bottom end on there. A little delay here to add some width to the sound, make it sound a bit more interesting. On this other kick here, some chorus, another stereo kind of effect here just to add some width. And what else we got going on? I could hear something else coming in. Let's take a look at these hats. This one's got a little splash of reverb on it. Let me take it off. So I felt it's a little bit too dry. Some EQ here to roll off the lows. Just a little bit of a dip here. So here's the hat. Another one. Working in conjunction with the other hat as well. So pretty much all of this programming is running with a 16 triplet grid. All right, so let me just expose that so you can see it. We're going to zoom in. So you see it locked right in onto that 16th. Now, we had a nice chant here just coming in. You could hear that. This is a little vocal shout just in there to add some drama. And you can see that I'm running with a mixer here with some automation. So the delay, a mixture of short and then longer echoes here. So that's working as a nice bit of variation in the background on the intro. So also there was another little clap there. I'll solo that. You hear that? So it's doubling up on the open hi-hat. Snare. Some reverb on here. EQ'd as well. Let me take the reverb off for you. And then there's a clap. It's got a real kind of weak attack on there. It's quite interesting. But doubling up with that snare. Seems to work really nicely.
This is where I come in and do my thing. Work it out.
So just as a little transition into that section, this is like a couple of noise samples. I can't remember where I got this from. I was probably going through some of my library things and quickly dropped them in. It could even be something like the Vengeance one. Sometimes when I'm working in a hurry, like I was on the very beginning of this remix, I just drop stuff in for speed. And sometimes you get to a point you think, no, I actually like the sound of them and you don't want to change them. So you keep them in. So that's what that is. And this is really just introducing Lady Alma's vocals. And you actually heard a little bit of her vocal teasing in earlier. There we go. So back into this.
This is where I come in and do my thing.
So this is just kind of like an intro. And I really like the fact it's really stripped down to just that vocal of hers and the vocal chant in the background. In terms of processing, CMX. Let me solo that. Let's take all this off.
Said I got a question.
That's how it sounded before. There's a bit of delay in reverb coming over here from the sends, but look, listen to all this lot.
Can you believe it?
So that gives it a bit more of an epic kind of sound. Certainly in the stereo kind of headphones, it feels bigger. And you heard a little bit of the bass line there. Just explaining what's going on here. These are ad-lib tracks, the vocals, all right? So if you listen to the original Work It Out, you'll hear the verses and choruses. And then interspersed between those, you're going to hear the ad-libs. So if you've ever gone in a recording studio and you've worked with a singer, the ad-libs are where you say to them, right, okay, we finished the verse and chorus. Just sing whatever you want to sing now for the duration of the whole tune. And you're going to pick out little gems that are going to be useful, that are going to be good to put into the actual finished composition. But here, I really loved the ad-libs. They had a real personality for me. So I just run them over a backing track and pretty much repeated them. You can see here, it's very similar. The first section is quite dubby. The second section gets a little bit more musical. That's certainly over here. Then we come back with the vocals here. So it's kind of like cheating in a way that you're repeating it. But when you hear it the second time, it doesn't really feel like it's something you've heard before. Let's come back on that bass. I heard that coming in. Now I had a real struggle with this bass. So firstly, I layered. This is what it was. Yeah, look. So all of these elements actually. Let's come back on that. So when I was working on the track, I was using this instance of Massive. See the EQ there, the compressor, then another one. I was just kind of trying to make a certain type of bass sound. And then I laid it with a V station. So it's a bit messy. It took me a while to get this sitting right, but I ended up really liking the sound. So we've got the higher version of the bass here. Just doubling up with a little texture every now and again. I don't know why I did it on that particular position. I can't even remember. But anyway, that's all right. And then we've got lower. So it's kind of subby. and the glute compressor just to keep things in check in terms of the volume there, gel things, all of those three together. Some extra little hats coming in with a phaser on there. This is a little sample, you can see that. I can't remember where I took that from. So just to add a little bit of extra texture. And by the way, this isn't the properly mastered version, so it probably sounds nowhere near as kind of tight and finished as the one that's on sale at the moment. We just heard the chords coming in there. Now, I can't remember where I got these particular ones. These are samples, and I dropped them in as a kind of speed thing. You know, some of you guys have seen the way I work, and quite often I play my own things in. But this was one of those times where I just needed to quickly get some ideas down. I'd quickly drag some samples. So this is one of those examples of me using samples, sample chords, with different flavors on there. And running through some effects, got some low cut on here, just to enable those to sit in the mix. And one thing I want to show you about this bass is that the beginning of the bar, sometimes you've got this rapid. So we got like that first. We do all the bass. You hear that? So we start off with the single notes on the beat, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it's got that more swung pattern over here, and then this time doubling. So that's on the 8 subdivisions, just to create some variation there, you know. So what I'm doing here is I'm just layering up different instruments, you know, really just riding with the hype of the vocal as it grows. And you can see now that I've got this mallet sound in here. My trusty M1 again, this is something called the Lovely Duet. It was a mallet sound that I picked out. And in terms of the notes there, let me just bring this up. And then this comes in the brass. Another real classic M1 90s sound, the band swell. It's being triggered here. Let's bring these other elements in. String, high string, coming from the M1 again. This sort of stuff just sounds amazing, you know. Stripping it right down to the music. You won't get this on the actual release. This is the only place where you're hearing this. Stripping the beats back just to add some extra emphasis to that section there. Oh, by the way, if you have a look, if you have seen my videos about structuring, you know, that whole concept of the subtractive structuring where you block it all out and then start muting elements. This is what I used. You can see the muted clips here. So new elements here, an arpeggiated keyboard sound. This is something called Slap Happy. So that's working really nicely. I tell you what, let me come back to that up. Let's take a look at the chords. So I worked out the chords, you know, because we have the chords that were sampled, but I needed to work them out properly. So that's what happened after. And this is a chord sound that works really nicely as a new texture. And that without the arpeggiator would sound like how it's about to sound. And here we go with the vibes. I just love this bit because, you know, we've heard a whole bunch of vocals and now it's time for the music to have its space. So it's almost kind of like call and response, isn't it? You know, the vocal is doing its thing, then the instruments do their thing. Almost a kind of like jazz tip, isn't it? So There we go. Those two, just amazing. Let's bring the bass back. I'll tell you what, let me bring that hard vocal back in. Look at that, that's wicked. I should have done a reprise mix, shouldn't I, really? A little tambourine loop just to pick up the highs here. Bringing some of those vocals back. Okay, so look, you can see what's happening. We're building up to this big drop about 2/3 of the way through. Yeah, that's a real nice little touch there. So you start off, you don't hear the arpeggiated chord, but then gradually, because of the automation with the volume, it creeps up. And as a contrast, the high string is going down.
Said I got a question. He said I got a question. Can you believe it?
And now what we're doing is we're obviously building up to everything kicking back in. These kind of build-ups are really tricky to do. You've got to be really careful not to overcook the build-up. But I had Alma's vocals here really to lean on. So you can see the bass is now picking up the energy, and you can see a gap here. Things removed, and then everything kicks back in. And really, that was just relying on Alma there, really, you know, just dropping a few elements out using the crash cymbal over here. You see that going on. So it's a bit of a cliche, but that's all it needed. There's some mutes here where I took some elements out just to add some drama. That's coming up. And actually, I took that from earlier, and personally, I thought I didn't do it so well there. There was a section that had that kind of a vibe much better over here. I think it's over here. Yeah, I feel that works a lot better. But you know what it is, when you're near the end of a song, sometimes you kind of think, oh man, no, that's good enough, that's just good enough. But on kind of reflection, I think it could have been done a little bit different. So really what we're doing is gradually winding down now. You can see down here with the duration, it's pretty long actually. So the vocals are about to stop, the musical elements are about to strip down, and we're out to the beats outro for a DJ. Just basically gradually reducing some of these elements. You can see that. Keeping enough of the beats going for the DJs. So a pretty standard outro there. Always make sure if you're doing a club tune to have plenty of beats on the intro and the outro there. So yeah, there we go. Deconstruction of Blakai, Work It Out featuring Lady Alma. That's the Danny J. Lewis dub. Available now from all of the digital stores. I'll hook up some of the links below, and that's on 1050 Records.